Alright, welcome everyone, it's David, aka Faramir4731, and I'm bringing you another match on Finland, but this time, it's going to be a tournament match, and playing with my teammate, Joker, also known as Rick, and we make up, our team is called the Wolfpack Attack, and of course, like I think I just said, I'm not sure if I did, but of course, if you can already tell, Rick is going to be playing as Prussia. And the rules in this tournament are a maximum of 3 light units of a range of 90 to 120, and a maximum of 4 dragoons and no artillery. And we will go ahead and get started in this match. We're going to be playing up against 2 of our friends, and they are Luke15 and Warfighter, and this is going to be a pretty tough match. They're very good opponents, and it is also a very fun match. And I'm just going to keep fast forwarding here, and whoops, down in the trees and the hills. Alright. Alright. Okay, so our opponents have come into play, and I'm going to be running my troops forward, as is Rick on the bottom, or Joker. So Joker's going to be pushing forward to try to capture the whole of the I guess you would say the blank space here in the center of the bottom part, and I'm going to be doing the same here to keep them from encompassing too much of the tree line. And you can see I'm going up against Warfighter, who is playing as Sweden, and it looks like he's got 4 line infantry taking up the woodlands on the bottom of the hill, and he's got all of his lights at the I guess the center, and he's got several line units. He's got some superior, 1, 2 superior line, 3 superior line, 4, all 5 superior line. Okay, and then he's got 4 light dragoons here in the center, and he's got his general's bodyguard. Luke is going to be playing, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line coming up, 3 tier lowers, and he's got some Royal SOs, 2 Royal SOs, 3, 4, and a Bulkley. And he's got some cav as well right here. They're all going to be taking the woodland in the center. And you can see here Rick has 3 light dragoons. He's got a 2nd hussar. He's got 3, 4 line infantry coming up. He's got his Jaegers coming up in the rear. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 more line and a superior line coming up in the woodland, while I have my 3 tier lures coming up here in the center. And I've got all my cav, and I've got my lines coming up right in the rear. That doesn't sound right. So Rick is moving his cav forward to take on the French cav in the trees in the woodland here. So he's going to take minor losses, because most of their shots are going to be fired into the trees, so he can then come up, and he's got more men to fire in, and he targets 1 unit and takes them down to 27. So he's got his 2nd hussars here holding back this other tier lure to come in, and I am also going to be pushing up my cav to shoot into him, and might have hit a little bit of Rick on that. I don't think I did, but that pushes him out of the tree line, and now I have encompassed my lights, taking this small grove of trees in the center, I have 2 grenadiers holding my flank, and I've got 1 line in reserve. Okay, so that fight, we knock out 1 cav, and now his lights are opening up, so he takes a little bit more shots on some of the lights in the back. Okay, so I've dropped my stakes and prepared for an assault by the Swedish player, which is Warfighter again, and here comes his push, and pushing them forward, and he's got his lines, and he looks like he's trying to sweep his other lines around. So let's see what they're doing. Looks like they're going to try and take their cav around my flank, which I'm okay with at the moment because I have a plan in case that does happen. I won't go into detail on that, but so you can see they're making pretty good push right here, and Rick over here is holding with his lights in the center. Does need to move that second hussar. Now he's got his lines, his superior lines, and his lines pushing up, and the French have got all their units here kind of holding. Okay, so now I've got the Swedish line coming down, and these other lines trying to sweep up and around. I'm going to be moving my grenadiers and my cav over, and now the fight is going to commence between the two, all the lights, and I am going to take a few hits off of his first couple volleys, and I have only killed 2 of his lights. So now that he's spent his volleys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my cav in to try and make a push on his lights. I think what I am doing, because he has not laid stakes, is I am going to cav charge his lights and push them back. So seeing that he has moved his lights back, I do get a shot off. I've stopped 2 of them. I'm going to do that. He's going to push his dragoons up to shoot my line unit on the flank here. So I am right now tearing up his lights pretty good. You can see here one of them is down to 36. The other one I've got stacked up right here at 42. So now I'm going to be shifting my lights over to start shooting these lines on this flank. And you can see here Rick is got a pretty good handle on the bottom, and I have moved one of my bulkleys up to shore up the flank, and I'm going to roll back my line. You can see I was protected quite a bit by the tree line here. So now my lights are going to shift up, and I'm going to be able to start making some good firing on the superior line. His lights are in the back here, and again, I did lose 2 of my cav, but I did put a good beating on his lights, and at this point that's more important to me. So I'm gonna do a little different tactic on my lineup. You can see here what's happening in the center. The lights here in the center are taking some losses. He's got down to 28, and he's starting to pick apart the other one, whereas Rick is only lost down to 47 on one and 50 on the other. Luke is at 60, 28, and now he's mowing that one down to 43. Okay. So I'm taking cover in the tree line here, and here comes the cav push around. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to shift my bulkly to protect against that cav movement. Now I do have my general way back. It's probably, and so does Rick, but see what happens and unfolds here. It's kind of stalemate at this point. Again, I have the only thing protecting my flank is a Bulkley and another line, so I'm going to reshift, and I'm going to put another line with my Bulkley, that one that they were trying to shoot up. I only lost 8 men on that, and I got my 2 Grenadiers, and I've got this line right here going to be holding this corner. I know he's got to push up into this woodland here, which I can roll my lights over if I need to. Okay, so things are pretty quiet on this front. I do move my cav up that I lost. Came back to me, so I'm going to go ahead and move that back up. And again, over here on this side, it's pretty quiet, and it's starting to quiet down over here as well. Rick is moved up and he's laying down some stakes, and Luke's going to try and push his lights since they're in the motion of dropping stakes. Rick is going to push back to try to avoid getting fired upon. Alright, so yeah, things have quieted down quite a bit. Now my lights are going to start opening up on him, that he has started coming in, and I'm going to take that depleted cav unit to stall those lights. But now I'm going to go ahead and bring them back. I've got this light unit down to 21, this one to 42, and this one to 58. So now I'm going to be pushing my lines forward. It's going to be a little seesaw battle. Now I am going to start taking some losses. That cav protects me. I'll leave it there to basically act as a shield for my lights, and you can see it was pretty effective. So here comes his lines. He's going to start pushing in. Rick's going to move a line up to help, and I'm going to start shifting my lights back. So I've got these 2 lines here that are going to be protecting my my lights from moving back, and now I'm going to shift up my 2 lines with Rick, and you can see Luke is making assault on this flank with his cav and several of his units. So now this is kind of where we're at. I'm getting heavily assaulted right here. You can see the vast amount of units coming in on me, but again, I kind of expected that, and this firepower I'm going to be taking from 2 superior lines is pretty superior. Okay, pardon the pun. Alright, so down here, again, not a great deal happening. Most of the action is taking place on my front, and yeah, so we'll kind of watch what goes down. We're able to team up on these units right here, and I'm going to, expecting these guys to break, I'm going to go ahead and shift forward to protect my lights, because Rick's got this under control for the moment, and I'm going to roll my lights around, and I'm shifting, waiting for him to make a push on my flank. I'm just shifting my lines around, and this does force Rick's units back, and this is going to be perfect because Warfighter is going to have this superior line exposed in the retreat. His cav's going to come up and put some shooting on it, and now I'm going to roll my lights back up again, and I'm going to be able to concentrate my fire on a concentrated point. Now here comes Luke. He is rolling his cav around the back, and Rick is going to see that, move his general. Okay. So again, now I'm going to force my 2 lines up here. This is going to threaten his lights. And okay. So here comes Luke's assault on the bottom. He's got his cav coming in, and he is going to be pushing Rick pretty hard with his center as well. So he's coming at him at all directions. So we are being, at this point, we're being enveloped. So you can see on the map our lines and their lines. we're being enveloped. Okay, I'm going to move my general forward because of the risk of being enveloped. I want to make sure that that does not happen to me as well any further anyways, because it already really has. Okay, so Rick has his Dragoons up to protect, so there's really nothing that comes of the assault from the Dragoons of, or the Cheval from Luke. So now I'm going to push my lines back and my lights back, and you can see here that I'm prepared for a pretty darn heavy assault right in this area, because I've only got 3 lights, my 2 line, Rick's got a line over here to help, and we've got a couple lines, so I'm going to shift a bulkly over in support. But again, I'm prepared for this. I've got some lines over here to protect my flank in case he tries to roll that cav, because he's got a lot of cav and they are highly mobile. Now down here, Rick and Luke are in a fight with their Dragoons, and again, Rick's Dragoons outnumber the French cav because they only have 45, and that advantage is going to go to him, especially now that he's broken one of them. The one place that the French cav does have the advantage is in melee. So he's actually got the edge on him down here, 34 to 37, now 32 after the charge. But let's see how he handles that, because he's going to probably be shooting into his cav right here. You can see the front guys have their swords out while the back guys are reloading. So they'll be shooting into him afterwards. So now it's an even fight, but now you can see the gunshots going, and that's going to play into the favor. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 32-30. Okay. But anyways, right here I see something that I'm going to try to take advantage of. That's going to be happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift one of my cav over, and I do see Warfighter bringing his cav. But one thing I see is all of Luke's lights are pushing up to this corner to mask their fire over here to try to take that tree line. Okay, Rick has beaten the goons over here. Now Warfighter is going to be supporting Luke on that fight, and again, I see both. I see an opportunity here because his cav is going to be in the Valley of Death right now, so there's not much they can do, and they are shooting off their volleys. So I'm coming downhill. Makes a good opportunity. So I'm going to start pushing forward because Warfighter is pushing back because he's moved his cav, and that was really what was giving him the advantage down here, and Rick's going to start moving his line back. Okay, you can see the centralized push by Luke, and what he's going to try and do is push his guard advantage here in the center, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so he does see what's probably happening here, so he's going to start moving his tirelures out, and he's going to start rolling over this line, but it's a little bit too late at this point. So I'm going to put a massive volley onto these to the line, and you can see it's already starting to break, and now I am going to cav charge his lights, and it's going to be a bloody affair for them. So one's already broke, now the second one's broke, and now the third. So he's going to start rolling his line to start making volleys on my cav, but Rick quickly sees this, and he is going to force his men forward, and he is going to take advantage of that hit that I put on him. And now I'm going to roll my cav out, that fight, and you can see I didn't take much losses. I've still got 39 and 42 men. So now Warfighter had already seen that. He's moving his cav forward to assist, but we were already out of there at that time. Now he's got his one tier lure that's left is being mowed down by Rick, who quickly again moved his lines up and is taking full advantage, and now this one unit of line is completely isolated. So it was a pretty good move on his part right there, and he is going to take a little bit of losses here on this flank from Warfighter's Dragoons. So yeah. So at some point I'm going to have to start making a push on my end. I thought it went quicker. In real time it seemed like it went super quick. So okay, so here you can see here comes the cav assault still, and Rick is pushing back his lines because he still has a pretty formidable array of units left. Like I said, he's just, unfortunately for him, he's out of lights, and he's got 3 very depleted line units here. So really he's got 7 line that are in pretty full strength mode, but he has 3 lines that are pretty darn depleted versus Rick. I think he's 4, 5, 6. I think he's got a full stack still. Okay, so Warfighter is going to be starting to push a superior line down to try to also support Luke. You can see I am shifting and reallocating. Now I am going to be shifting some lines in my Grenadiers up to the hill. Really, I enabled that to happen. I think I got a little cocky here. So he does take a shot on his Jaegers right there. Now Rick does get his Dragoons up to take a shot on Warfighter's Dragoons. He does make a pretty good shot on one of them. So now Warfighter's got 2 units of cav that are pretty depleted. Okay. So Warfighter is now going to move that line back up. So now here comes Rick's envelopment movement. He was able to rest his units, so they did get rested up. Luke's guys are all exhausted or very tired. That's going to play well for us. So now my lights can cover my advance on the center of the map, because again we have Luke and Warfighter's cav all concentrated in this tree line here, and his envelopment is underway down here. After a misclick, you can see my where I'm getting my guys allocated to. Okay, so let's see what happens in this advance. And I think I did lose track of this bulkly here, which is kind of unusual. Okay, so I'm bringing this one bulkly back down to the center. Got these lines here and the Grenadiers over here still. So I'm slowly pushing up to envelop Warfighter at some point. Okay, so here comes a line. It's going to try and come in and take some shots on my lights, but my bulklies are there to say, no sir. So we put a pounding on him, and I'm going to reshift and reallocate there a little bit. So I'm getting shot a little bit on this spot here by his guys, but I'm willing to take that punishment so I can continue my advance. Warfighter is going to continue to abandon this tree line, so I'll be able to push up into that. Now I'll be able to make a move with my lights again to go ahead and concentrate fire on these riflemen, and then I'll be able to hit the superior line in the back. Okay, about to be done. 27 men. He's got that bulkly down to 90. Okay, so here comes the fight. So I'm going to pull my lights out because here comes his cav. I do have my bulklies up and my cav coming up to protect. Okay, so now Warfighter is going to push his lines back out of the tree line to start firing upon me here. And I do get first volleys, but again, the hill line here is going to block my shots. I'm going to roll my 2 grenadiers over here to take this unit. So yeah, not a whole lot of damage being caused there, but a little bit. Okay, so I am still getting shot by the long range here, but now my long range, again, which is vastly superior, is going to be able to start taking some more shots again. And I am, you can see, hitting this superior line in the back. Now at some point here, I think right about now, is where Rick is going to black screen at some point here. I'm not sure exactly when. He just used his Hussars to charge and tag up his line so he could then place his volleys after his men moved up. So yeah, here in just a little bit, he's still got control of his men right now, but at some point he's going to lose, he's going to go to a black screen, and so he didn't drop out of the tournament, and we lose the match by him dropping. He just stayed with the black screen, but that happens here pretty quick, and you can see my guys volleying in to the lines over here, and his cav's going to try and make a push on my guys here in the tree line, so I'm going to move 1 cav over. I've got 1 still here prepared for what happens in the middle. Okay, so Luke is breaking here. He lost this line, and that SOs is finally broken. You can see this line here is about to break as well. Now Warfighter's other 2 kind of deficient dragoons are going to come in here and make a shot, but Rick's got his goons over to chase them off. Okay. So what we're dealing with, I got 2 goons, so now I'm going to roll my other goon over to help again, where he's taking shots here, and I think he is hitting some of my bulks on this unit from shots that miss and come in, but I mean it's pretty minimal. I got them spread out, but I am, you know, you can see that one was at like 83, now it's at 76, and that superior line's at 111. So I'm getting some damage on him. So he's going to be forced to push up because I'm putting more losses on him than he is on me. That rifleman's down to 18. He's going to be out of the long range fight. That one's at 21. Okay, misclick there. So now I'm prepared for his guys to come up and take some volleys on me. And you can see Rick is slowly closing in on Luke. He's down to 78 men, 80 and 115. He's got 87 Bulkleys and 117 right there. So you can see he's getting pretty much mopped up. So it's going to force Warfighter to come out on me. He's got no choice. So I can just kind of sit pretty here and, you know, lay my volleys into him with my units. Now I'm going to push him back as a superior line are going to provide quite a bit of firepower on me. So now that stops them shooting, that forces them forward, and my Bulkleys can then take their volleys, and then I roll my lines forward. Okay. So this is, I believe, the point where Rick is now black screen. So his guys are still doing their thing, but they're not. He's not going to be able to react to any more movement. So all these units here are now going to be idle, and he'll be able to flank around. You can see he still has some pretty good size line units, and this is the first move. He takes on a charge into this depleted line, and he'll be able to flank all of his men. Oops, no, he's still moving, so he must still be around. Yeah. So he's going to be shifting back here. Okay. So here you can see, you didn't get to see the volleys, but my Bulkleys lay some volleys down. You can see I didn't lose too many men. I got this line here providing flanking fire here. My Bulkleys here shooting into this line. Now my lines are back up, and you can see what I've done to his lines here. They're all at under half strength except for this one. And I've still got some pretty good sized units, so that my 2 units on the flank are in pretty good shape. Now he's got one line coming around that was holding up the Valley of Death. He's going to be trying to bring that around to flank me, but that's fine. So here goes my 2 lines over here. Is going to be making their volleys, and all the while I'm able to lay down some suppressing fire with my lights into this superior line as it makes its advance. So now here comes the assault in the woodlands. I outnumber them there with 4 units to 3. Okay, so here goes. I got my volley from my 2 cav, and now he's going to be pushing this cav around. So he's trying to envelop me here, and the problem is I have dominated in the center here. So he's about to lose another superior line here. Lost that dragoon. So here I'm going to roll my lines back again. And that superior line there is down to 59. Okay, so here we go to the hill. So yeah, you can see that this, I think this must be the point where he's idle, because he's got 2 line units lined up the wrong way and so on. But luckily he's got his long range here still that are firing, so we got lucky in a little bit of regards there, and his general's still here. Okay, so I take another shot with my 2 dragoons on the superior line. It does get a shot on me there, but that allows me to push back some more. So I'm just going to kite back, and over here in this woodland, down to 105, he's down to 111, this one's down to 85, with 2 full strength grenadiers. So, okay, now my Bulkleys are opening up. He did get first volley, so I'm down to 98, he's down to 109, now 96 to 106. Alright, so down to 105. I got 96. Okay. So I'm still just concentrating my lights onto this unit here, as well as these guys, and now these 2 units of lines are going to be able to force back his 3 depleted rifleman units to keep them out of the fight, so that my lines here can finish off the task. So my Bulkley here is down to 88, his guy is 67. Now let's see how this line fight's going. So 96 still, and I was able to reload faster with my Bulkleys, and now I've got him down to 89. And here goes my 3rd line fire. There we go. So I got him down to 85, and I'm still at 94. So you can see how quickly a Bulkley can turn the tide. So there goes that line. My Grenadiers held their own. Okay. So now I'm going to be charging my 2 line to try and tag up his lights here. I got my 2 cav here that just broke that line, so now I only lost 3 more line from that. And yeah, now I'm shooting him in the back, so I'm still at 89 men. So yeah, don't mess with the bull, please. Okay, so here goes my push. I'm going to go ahead and shoot into this fray, trying to tag them up with my lines and hold those cav still, and it worked. I'm able to almost rout that one. and I want to tag up these lines, go ahead and finish them off. So here comes General into the fray, and here comes the rest of my lines. Okay, so my line is still at 54 and that Bulkley is at 53. Okay. So you can see here how Rick is getting enveloped by Luke, and Rick's not moving. So yeah, that's why, because he's not with us at the moment. So I've got to do my best to knock out Warfighter as quickly as possible, because you can see Luke's got some pretty decent amount of units left. I mean, these guys on this flank aren't as full strength, but these definitely are. So Luke's going to be trying to force these guys over because he sees Rick is not moving. He doesn't know exactly why, but it does give us a little bit of time there. So yeah, I'm going to be pushing this center extremely hard to push Warfighter completely out of this game. He doesn't have much left, but I've got to link up and start helping the remainder of Rick's men, or it's going to be big time troubles for us. So yeah, you can see I think Rick's able to do stuff, he just can't see what he's doing. But now his guys are walking. Yeah, it was bad, but we still right now at this point have the advantage. You can see that unit of line. I'm just going to throw my Bulkleys into it as my other lines are coming up. That Bulkley is going to be able to absorb all this fire, and I've got him pretty enveloped. Now my other lines up here on the top are coming into the tree line up here. And here comes Luke's 2 units to provide some support. And you can see they're in pretty good shape. So we'll see what we can do here. Okay, so I do get first volley off on those SOs, take them down to 64. That one, because out of sorts, he only lost 3 men. Okay, so I'm going to have to reshift. But what I'm going to do before he can get a volley off, I'm going to throw this 89 men into melee, and I'm going to be able to bring my Bulkleys over here to shoot him up, and then drop my goons down to shoot into him. Okay, so I do take out this rifleman. He still does have that more heavier, I'm sorry, it was a line unit. So all of his lines are gone now on this side. He's just got light dragoons and these lines over here, 2 lines, and his general. That's all he has left at this point in the game. So I am at this point looking to just keep tightening the noose on him. Got my Bulkleys into melee with these dragoons, and this Bulkley is still in chase with them while I'm able to shoot with my lights into the flank and just keep whittling them down. Okay, so now it's coming down. You can see Rick's still got these 2 line right here. Okay, so now we are breaking Luke's SOs there, and this one is trying to get away, but I'm going to try and tag him into melee. You can see Rick's guys just walking about, getting shot. Okay. So here goes the final stand of Warfighter over here. And this line is trying its best to get away from my grenadiers. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and shift my light units down to the bottom, try and provide some support to get all of his Luke's units over here. SO is stuck right here, so I'm going to be able to tag him up first with my 25 unit men, and then be able to shoot him up with my 68 and then my Bulkleys after. So here comes my cav to finish off the remainder of the lights here. There goes, I believe it's Warfighter's General. Okay, yep, there goes his general, so his guys are just going to get melted away now. There goes those guys, so now all of the Swedish player except for this line, which they are going to be soon gone, are away. And I have now got these two units in here, and I've got my Bulkley, which is only winded. It's going to be able to come in here and get into his own Bulkleys and SOs and tag them up to where I can continue to fire on them with my lights. My unit is down to 84, but you can see how I'm able to shoot over the top of my guys' heads and into the enemy Bulkleys. They're already down to 48, and my Bulkleys are going to be able to start shooting in just a moment. There they go. That'll do it. And yeah, look, the captain got his little shot in too. Okay. So his Bulkleys are now down to 29, and I think it's at that point it's time to give him the bayonet. Give him the bayonet. Okay. So there goes his Bulkley right there. My cav can now come around and sweep again. Luke has no cav or lights, so I'm pretty free to shoot him up as I please. And now I've rolled these guys over to start just shooting into my line here and his SOs. There goes the next general down, which is Luke. So he's in square here because he was expecting my guys to continue to assault him, but I'm rolling him to fire into this guy because I want to get that guy gone to free up all my other lines to be able to come after this last final unit there. And he's got these two lines here, but they shouldn't last very long as I'm shooting into my own guys, and his guys are soon to be broken. Here comes my cav, and here comes my Bulkleys. So my cav does get shot, but that's fine. It gives me a free, complete open flank to shoot into. Let's see if we can get that volley off before he rolls around. And the SOs are a pretty sweet looking unit. So he's rolling to shoot my cav. Here it comes. Put a good shot into him. He's going to be forced to roll around. Now he's down to 76. Okay, so got a downhill charge onto these two units. That one's going to be broken, and now we should be able to at least break this unit. I think we roll back up and take another downhill charge. He's already starting to break. Their general's gone. Everybody else is gone. They aren't wanting any part, so yeah, it's over with. We did it. At this point in the tournament, we are now 1-0. I'm going to upload the other videos I have here shortly. But yeah, that's the first game of me and Rick's tournament. Warfighter and Luke came in on this match with a record of 1-0, and so they went 1-1 after this, and we're 1-0. So yeah, all right. Thanks again, everyone. It was a fun match, and really good game to our opponents. So please like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.